Well, hello once again. My name is Charles Richard and I've got a great video for you today. But before I start on the video, let me tell you, I am actually recording this video on the Olympus, the OMD EM5 Mark II. And I'm using the Sigma, the Zoom Master 35 to 70 millimeter, 2.8 to 4 is what this lens aperture is capable of. Well, I've got the lens set up at 35 millimeter and my aperture is at 4. Now, what's new about this video, or I should say these videos, which is what I'm going to be talking about, is the microphone that I'm using. I am actually using a Shure. It is a Shure. It is a condensed microphone. It is a shotgun style microphone. It is the Lenshopper, the VP83. That's what you're listening to right now. It is a great mic. I gotta tell you, in my opinion, and then again, that's just very subjective because everybody has a different opinion as to what they like for sound. But me being that I have done a lot of sound engineering in real recording studios, I like the microphone and the sound that is coming from this Shure. It is obviously, you know, a microphone that has been around for several years, but Shure as a company has been around for decades. I don't know how many decades, but it's been around for a long time. The microphone built is very solid. It is made out of metal. The sound that these Shure capsules bring is very, they got a lot of body in their vocals. So therefore, I like it a lot. This particular microphone, you have the ability for attenuation. In other words, you can lower the volume of the microphone by 10 decibels, or you can raise it by 20 decibels on a fixed switch. So you can set this attenuation to either be 10 minus 10 decibels, 0, or plus 20. And I'm going to explain to you what that means, okay, in a little bit. Besides that, it also has what we call a low pass filter. The low pass filter means that you're not going to hear all this rumbling noises and stuff like that. It has that within the on-off switch of this particular mic. It uses a AA battery. It is condensed, so therefore it is powered by this AA microphone, which is awesome. I think it is really a good thing, okay, to have. Now, furthermore, okay, the microphone, well, let's take it one step back. I'm using it on a camera, and if you haven't heard, okay, maybe you're new at this, cameras as a whole do not have good preamps for sound, all right? And so therefore the sound that is coming into a camera is usually not very good. This is why a lot of professionals record the sound completely separate. But if you wanted something that can be applied to a camera and you wanted to lower what we call the bottom end, all right, of the sound spectrum, to where you're not going to hear any hissing, any rumbling, any sort of distorted noise, then the best way to do it is with a microphone that has a very high percentage of being able to boost the microphone itself while lowering, giving you the ability for you to lower the volume inside the camera. What does that mean? Well, let me explain. What it means is that, for example, in this particular case, the Olympus preamps are sort of noisy. They're not extremely noisy like a lot of other cameras, like the Sony cameras or even the Canon cameras, but it's still noisy and it still produces some sort of a hiss or distorted sound. So what I do with the camera is, to lower the noise, is I lower the volume of the Olympus camera, the volume settings on the Olympus camera, to -6. This particular camera I've got it set to -6, while my microphone I've got it set at 0, meaning that it's going to have a hotter signal, right? and it's coming, actually that hot signal is coming from the microphone, and it's not coming from the actual preamps from the Olympus itself, the Olympus camera. Therefore, lowering the what we call the distortion that you normally hear, like the sss and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that means that you are going to be able to do that with this microphone, or a microphone similar to it. You're able to do that, and that's how you get rid of those hissing sounds, those disturbing sounds that actually keeps you from getting a super clean sound. So that's what I've done with this particular camera. What you're listening to is coming straight out of the camera. No post-production on the audio, no post-production on the colors of the camera, the lens. It's straight out of the camera. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about the microphone. I'm going to be showing you some videos where I use the microphone in different scenarios, and I've got also on this video, I'm going to be showing you some black and whites that I actually did with this camera using the art setting with the I think it's called the grainy film. Yes, as a matter of fact, it's called the grainy film, which is a black and white, and I went around Winter Park and I took some photos, and it's just stellar. It's just beautiful. It's just one of those things that really I love black and white, by the way. It's just, well, I think you have to watch these pictures, and then you tell me if you like them or not. So let me show you some of these videos. Let me show you some of these photos, and we'll be right back. Well, we're back. All right, so first of all, let me tell you what we're filming right now. Okay, right now I am filming this section with the iPhone 16, the new iPhone 16 Plus. And this is my wife's phone. All right, we're actually doing this little section right now, okay, with the iPhone 16. But let me show you the setup that you just saw. To begin with, all right, I'm going to start with the bottom. What you see here is a little desktop tripod, which was actually probably in the 60s. This is a Yashica. It is made by Yashica. It was made in Germany. All right, they don't make it anymore. It's really hard to find. It is old school, very, very, very old school. It is a ST7 is the model on this, and it is holding my Olympus, the OMD, the EM5 Mark II. With the lens, this lens is the Sigma lens, okay? The Sigma 35 to 70 millimeter. It goes from 2.8 to 4.0 is the aperture. It is a push-pull, as you can see right here. All right, push-pull. All right, this is how you zoom. And on the top, okay, is the Shure. The Lenshopper, the VP83. This little setup right here, all right, is really what you have seen on the first video that was being used to film that segment. It is extremely light. It is very versatile, as you can see right here. Extremely versatile, very beautiful, all right, very solid, all right. And what I mean by solid, I mean the build quality. There's nothing plastic about this camera. All right, this camera, if there's anything plastic, it might be, for example, the back cover of the LCD screen, because this camera has an articulating screen, as you can see here, right? And so it has this articulating screen, which, of course, when I turn it on, if I turn it on right there, all right, you can see, all right, all the settings and everything on the camera. But I like the articulating screen because it protects the camera when I store it away. This is a very small setup, and it is a very much an underdog, because people think that they need the latest and the greatest to be able to have something that can produce a great quality. This particular lens, not the new Sigmas, okay? Please, let me be very, very clear, okay? The new Sigma lenses, I do not like, okay? I do not like the coloring on it. I do not like because they don't longer use glass. They use the new imitation glass with computerized correction and all kinds of stuff, which actually take away from character. It gives a very clinical look, a very sharp look, but it takes away from character. This lens was built in 1982, and I keep talking about it because there's a difference in color in this Sigma than the new Sigmas. This Sigma, the richness, the character that the lens brings is lovely. Is very much desirable for the film industry. For it, I don't want to say for the film industry because that is very irrelevant. But I mean, if you're going to be using a one lens that can do it all for film, I recommend this lens more so than the quote unquote Sigma art lens that everybody is using, because of the character that it brings into the production. Personally, I like it, okay? Again, everybody's taste is different, all right? But I like it. But getting to what we were talking about in this particular video, the Shure, this Shure microphone, the actual suspension that you can see is built into the microphone. You can see I've got it plugged into the hot shoe. I got it mounted onto the hot shoe. I've got it with the foam that comes with the microphone. You can also get a dead cat. I don't use dead cats because dead cats take away from the high frequency. It muffles the high frequency. And yes, they're supposed to do that, all right, to eliminate wind noise. But I'd rather have the high end and a little bit natural wind coming through the audio than having an audio where I lose my high end because of a dead cat. So those are just little tricks, okay, of the trade. It is a condensed microphone because it takes, as you can see here, I'm gonna open this up so you can see it, all right? It takes, okay, here we go, come on. There we go. It takes a AA battery, as you can see right there. One AA battery. All right. The only thing you got to do is press these little two buttons right here. And that's all you do. Switch it back on. And in the back, as you can see here, it's got an on-off switch. And I'm going to turn it around here. You can see right there. All right. It's got the off switch. The middle position is the alternation for the low pass filter, and then if you put it all the way on the top position, it is just straight on without the alternation, or actually without the low pass filter, I meant to say. All right, on the top you have a second switch which brings the alternation to -10, 0 in the middle, or +20 on top. Those are the only settings that you need, but those three settings that you see right there is enough to get rid of the noisy preamps that cameras have. And that is what I'm trying to talk to you about. And being that it is a Shure and it's a super clean mic, the audio is fairly, very, very clean. Highly recommended. I very highly recommend it. Now, going back into this particular lens, which I have not covered yet, but I'm going to cover on my next video. This lens also has the capability. Let me show you something. I'm going to pull it up. Look what it says here. Macro. You see that? This lens also has the capability of doing macro. Okay? One lens that can do from 35 millimeters, obviously on a micro four thirds is the equivalent of 70 millimeters, all right, to 140 is the equivalent on a full frame, because this is a 35 to 70, and the multiplier is you multiply that times 2 to get the equivalent of a full frame. The aperture 2.8 is wonderful for a lens of this sort. So with this, I'm going to continue to work for the next couple of weeks showing you what this setup can do. Not only for video, but also in black and white, also in vintage photography, also in macro photography, using just this setup right here. All right, because this setup right here gives you that capability to do all of that. So with that said, let's take a look at some more photos. Well, we're back, and I hope so far you have learned something from this video. But in closing, let me tell you a couple of minor things. The first thing is this microphone. You can actually pick it up at B&H, Adorama. I think Adorama has it. I'm not 100% sure. But if you take a look over here at the screen, the microphone brand new runs for $199. That's about the average price of the microphone. Now there's another version. This is the VP83. There's also a VP83F. Then that F stands, the difference between the VP83 and the VP83F is that the F version actually does internal recording. All right, so you actually can record internally in the microphone. This one doesn't. This is just straight microphone. The F microphone, I believe, is like $300, somewhere around there. But this one is like $199. All right, so I didn't pay $200, okay, for this. I picked it used, all right? But here's something that I sort of want to kind of like, you know, bring out, all right, so that you have an idea of what we're looking here. Let me tell you how much I've paid for this so far. This here, this little piece here, I bought at a store that has everything used, vintage. You can find cameras that were built in 1920 all the way to current stuff. This little tripod, I paid $5. Okay, that's all I paid for this little tripod right here. And it actually closes up, and you can use it as a hand grip to be able to do sort of like a selfie, right? So with that said, the camera, the Olympus camera that you see right here, with I don't have the lens here to show you, but I bought this camera with the Olympus, the 14, I believe it's the 14 to 42 Mark II lens, right? I paid $300 for it, all right? So I got $5 plus $300. The lens adapter that goes, because this is an actual Canon FD mount lens, and it is coming onto the Micro Four Thirds, so I had to buy an adapter. The adapter for this camera was $22. It is made by Photosay. Okay, some people pronounce it Photosay, some people pronounce it Fotsy, all right, but I think it's Photosay, all right, so that was $22. The lens itself, okay, you're gonna be blown away by what I paid for this lens, okay. The lens itself, I paid $25 for this lens. The lens hood, okay, I paid $5 for the lens hood. The microphone, this $200 microphone that you see here, I paid $50 for it. This whole setup that you see here, we're looking at $407. That's $407. And I forgot one other thing I forgot to mention. This a strap, I bought it brand new, so let's add it. That was this strap was actually $25 brand new. That brings it to $432. This setup came with a flash, right? So I've got the flash on my backpacks on the other side of where Jassy is filming me, and it's an incredible setup. It is a setup that most people would think that, oh, you gotta go out and you gotta pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to be able to have a great setup. This $432 setup can do miracles. One of the things that I think a lot of people are actually doing is being misinformed, that or thinking that they need to have the latest and the greatest to be able to do great things. The trick about being able to do great things is not to have the greatest and the latest. Hear me out. The thing that actually will make you the best is knowing what your gear can do, knowing what the gear, how the gear works best, and what its limitations are. And you work within those parameters to be able to create your content. Once you're able to know your gear, its pros and its cons, and you work with what it does best, then your quality goes way up high. You don't need a new piece of gear to bring great content into creation. What you need to do is focus mostly on learning your gear, what it can do, learn tricks to do with what you have in your hand, than trying to go out and buying something because you think that little thing that it can do is going to produce something better. Don't do that, because that's a huge error, and that will never, ever get you to be a great cinematographer or a great videographer. Your ability to be able to create stuff with what you got is what's going to set you apart from everybody else, because everybody else cannot do what you can do, because you have learned to use your tool better than anybody else. That's the trick of being a good cinematographer. With that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you have, please, subscribe, because I've got a lot of stuff that I'm going to be bringing to you folks. And I'm going to be talking about macro, black and whites, all kinds of color corrections that you can do, and color modifications that you can do with it inside the camera using this little setup. Now, I'm using this little setup. This setup is an example of what you can do with maybe any other setup. As long as you know what you have, and what it can do, you're able to take what you have, the tool that you have, beyond what people say that its limitations are. With that said, wait till you see what more I can do with a $432 camera setup. That will definitely amaze you. So until next video, I hope you guys have a great week ahead, a great few days ahead. Don't forget to subscribe. If you are looking at this video on Facebook, don't forget to follow me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Oh, okay. From Georgia? Yeah, she's from her photo of you. So happy. You guys know each other? Kiss friend. Oh, you're gonna call? Where you guys gonna call you? What?
In Pennsylvania.
What was that?
Swarthmore. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Me and saying, hands up here, smile.
Yeah.
I tried to go to college for a semester, and now I'm doing this. So you see how that? Yeah. I also. Come on out.
Hey guys, I forgot to tell you one more thing. One of the things that we're going to, that I'm actually going to show you how to do, and it just actually flew over my head, is how to use this particular camera for live streaming. This particular camera can be used for live streaming, either using Ecamm or OBS or any of the other streaming software. So we're going to cover that also, so stay tuned because I definitely want to cover that. And there's one other thing. Lately, I've been giving out giveaways, all right? And my first giveaway that I gave out was a book to Lewis, which he was the winner. Awesome. Congratulations, Lewis, for winning that book. But I want to let you know one thing that I've had a little issue with. The issue is that if I actually am sending a giveaway out of the US, it is going through customs, something that I did not know. It is going through customs, and sometimes it can take up to 30 days. Custom can hold it for whatever reason, or they explained it to me. Anyways, it is not always held, but sometimes it is. So I just want to let you know that if you guys are entering one of these giveaways and you do happen to win and you are not living inside the US, it might take a little bit longer than normal. Usually, according to the post office, it's usually delivered within 30 days, but it's got to go through customs. All right, so I just wanted to mention that to you folks, and definitely wanted to mention the fact that I'll be showing you how to use this camera also for a live streaming. And I'm even going to show you how I do remote live streaming without without being inside a home or something. I'll show you how I do all of that, okay, using a hotspot. Yes, so stay tuned because we got a lot more to cover. All right, see you on the next one. Bye-bye.